Good morning. I am Julliette Frasier Salter, and I know I am way too close, so give me a moment. Hi, maybe that's better. I am trying to avoid shadows. As you know, I've had a difficult time with the shadows. However, I am here today. We're going to do a landscape painting, and what I'm going to do is to teach you how to do it with acrylics. Now, I started this guy. If you notice, I'm painting on wood. This is actually a painting case of mine that's easy to take to do a plein air painting. That's painting outside so that you are painting what you're looking to that's live and ready, or unless it's an old barn, and then there's a big controversy whether it's alive or not, so there you go. So we are here, and I've already put some Prussian blue and white in the sky, and then I came back with some cadmium yellow and some Indian yellow and put that in. Now I want to add in clouds. So what we're going to do is take a brush, and what I have here are two brushes. One of them is a flat number 4, number 8. This is a soft blending brush. So what I'm going to do is pull into the white, fill my brush with white, and this is how we're going to make our clouds. I did add a little bit of that Prussian blue to it so that I'm pulling hairs out of the brush. All right, so now right in this area, I don't want to mix the yellow and the blue together because it will be brown, or green actually is what it will be. So what I'm doing is just putting white in the cloud to try to blend these clouds, put us some clouds in here. See? Now that's going to be really pretty. Now I'm going to put another one right through here, just like a billowing cloud that's going along that sky. And what we want to do is bring a little bit of this yellow in the bottom of it, which we will do. So I'm just putting these little clouds here and there, and we're going up like this, we'll come down. See how easy this is? Now we're going to make this much softer than this. And we don't want all of our clouds to be just on that line, so we're going to put some more up in here. Now I also put extender on this, or actually what I used was retarder. Now you can get Joann's extender, I think is what it is, and that's really inexpensive. A little bottle like this, $1.47 or something like that at Hobby Lobby. Now this retarder is golden, and I don't remember how much I paid for it, but they have it at Home Depot. And thank y'all for tuning in this morning. I see your names coming across. I can't paint and read those. I can usually do 2 or 3 things at a time, but for some reason I can't get that going. So you see what I'm doing? I'm just adding some little clouds in here and there, and then we go soften them. Do not make your clouds look like cotton balls. That's the most important thing. Just always remember, you're not painting cotton balls. And the best thing to do with your clouds is to actually go outside and look at the clouds and pretend that you are painting these clouds, and you will get the knack of it real quick. All right, so now I'm going to soften this up under it. See how that's just softening that edge? Isn't that pretty? See how easy that is? What's this? See, we're just softening that edge. Now, I'm going to take that blender brush. I just had it in my hand. Still in my hand, the other hand. All right, so see what I'm doing here? This blender brush, I'm just tapping in, and it is putting me some clouds way back in there, but it's really softening this edge on these clouds. That is just so easy. Look at that. And all I'm doing is just tapping into it. See how easy that is? I hope you like this. I hope I make this so easy for you to do that you have to try it, because it definitely is. And of course, I'm always available to teach classes now that things are starting to settle down in our world. So if you have a group that you want me to teach, just let me know. I always say if you can't have fun in my class, you don't know how to have fun. So there you go. Now see how that yellow is starting to show up in the bottom of the clouds? That's the reflection of your sun in it. And I think we might just put a little sun in here just to show you how easy that is to do. I mean, you won't even believe this. It's so easy. Now I'm softening this. I'm pulling that yellow up into the bottom of that cloud. Look at that. I sure hope you like this. It looks so different on the video when I look back at it than when it did when we were doing it. So I think I need another cloud. So of course I put my brush in the water, had to dry it out. Now I'm working that titanium white back into it, and I can overdo clouds now because I love them. But I think we need a little cloud right in here. Now see how it's already picking that yellow up? Yeah, there we go. And when I'm teaching, I put too many clouds in so that you get a really good idea about how easy it is. And there's so many different kinds of clouds. If you go through Kansas, I think it's I-70, and you actually are going to stop at the information center. I can't remember which little town it is, but you're going west. And they have a whole town there that's old that you could go in and visit. Well, the information center there actually has a flyer. It's about this big, and it has all different kind of clouds on it. I was just amazed. Okay, so let's go with that. Now, I'm going to show you how to put that sun in. You thought I forgot, didn't you? Same way that you do a moon, except with the sun, we are going to take this yellow. I had to look at my hands. I have an injury on my finger, my little finger on this hand, and this finger on this hand, where I had hangnails, and they are in terrible shape, so I don't want to get any pain in them. Okay, so I need a little more white. There we go. All right, so let's put our sun. We don't want it exactly in the middle. You never want anything that's important right in the middle of your canvas. So let's go right over here. And this is our sunset right here. Now we need to make this sun a little bit larger, so I need some more paint. Here we go. And see how I put a little bit of the orange in there, but we're picking up more orange. How big does this sun need to be? It's going down. Okay, now see how this is not smooth, it's not round? It's okay. All you have to do is take that finger, gently make it the way you want to. It's okay if it's not perfectly round. So now, the trick to this is to take your palette knife, easy for me to say, right? I have a palette knife that I want to show you. You might know it's not right here now. I had it earlier, but there is the neatest trick to getting paint off your palette knife, that once it has dried on it. This has a little bit on it. I'm sure you might not be able to see it, but you take your palette knife and you just scrape it, the other one, against it. Now, I have a young man in my class that in Colorado that showed me how to do this, and it is just too neat. But it absolutely cleans it even after the paint has dried on, whether it's acrylic or it's oil or, well, that's all I tried, so I can't see anything else. Okay, so now I am going to lift this off, okay? So what you have to be quick with this. Now you can't slack on it. So I'm going to push into this paint. I'm going across, and I'm going to, you want to make sure you go across this way and back across this way. And of course today it's not working, right? There we go, right there. Okay, and I'm guessing it's because we're working on wood rather than canvas. It did not work as well. However, there's always a way to fix it, right? So I'm going back into this yellow, and right in this area, I'm tapping in some of it. Need a little more in my brush. I'm going to tap and pull. There we go. You know, by the time we get through with this, we may even have a tree in front of it, right? All right, there we go. And see, all that did was just soften it a little. There we go. Now, we're going to put another cloud in here. So, we're putting some white in here. Alright, so now, here comes this little cloud working its way up through here. And it's going to cut through the bottom of that. Alright, now we're going to put another one up here. And it's going to go up under this cloud. See, it work its way up in front of it. So, now, we're going to wipe this brush. But we're going to get our blending brush. And we're going to soften the bottom of it, okay? There we go. So we're softening the very bottom of it. Oh yeah. Now we will put a tree in this, and you'll never know what happened. And I'm thinking this is probably because I'm painting on wood. There we go. We're putting some streaks in the sky. That absolutely looks fantastic. I wish you had an up-front view of this. Look at that. It's putting those gold streaks in the sky. Wow. Now, one thing you want to make sure is that you don't do this across the blue, because unless the blue has dried, and then you can paint on color, put color on top of color if the color under it has dried. Did that make sense? I certainly hope it did. I meant for it too. Okay, so now what we're going to do is start with our trees. There we go. Remember, as in with oils, thin paint goes over thick. Now, all right, so what we'll do is leave this alone. If we need to, we'll come back to it, but I think it'll be just fine now. So I am going to use, this is a Schaefer, well maybe not Schaefer, Scharf, yeah, Scharf 560, it's a 1.5 inch. So that's what I'm working with, because I'm going to put some trees in. Now I'm going to use a mixture, so I'm going to take, I want this to be dark. I'm going to take a little alizarin crimson, and I'm going to put some Prussian blue in this. That's going to give us a really pretty dark color. And now I'm going to put a little bit of sap green in here. Yeah. And if you use like a midnight black, you can put it in and then put yellow, because if you mix these blacks, they have a green base to them. And so we just add some more of that cadmium yellow into it. And this will give us a pretty dark color. Now we could use purple in this background for the trees. However, I kind of like this idea. So I'm cleaning off my palette knife, so I don't have to use that tip I just showed you. Alright, so now let's see how this brush works with these trees. So we want this to be a background. Now if you haven't watched me before, then you absolutely know that I name trees. I just think that's an easy way for you to remember what you have on your canvas and what you've done. Alright, so this is our farthest tree in the back. And so I say let's put him about right here. And we want him to be a little softer. There we go. And he's going to come down to about right here. Now this tree is going to be willow. Now, I want to put an Aaron over here. They get along really well. My sister-in-law, or my granddaughter would not allow them not to, right? Because this is her brother and her husband. So we're putting Aaron in here. There we go. Oh, Aaron, that's looking really good. There we go. Now, I guess we need to put McKenna around here somewhere, so she'll be our next tree. And these are way in the background. We'll put some more trees over them. This is McKenna. Now let's put some little bushes right in here. Let's see, let's call this one Adeline Bell. Isn't she cute? Now this one is going to be Cason. And now we'll put a big tree here. This is going to be Danielle. Maybe it should be Caleb. It's looking kind of tall, isn't it? So anyway, this is pushing it back some. So there we go. Now we're just going to fill in with a multitude of trees there. Right? And did you see how we put some grass in here like this? Now when we highlight this, it will really show. This is a beautiful background color for these trees. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to add in some more trees on the other side. But what we want to do is put them behind these so that you will be able to see, because we're going to put some waterfalls and some water coming through here. So if we start back here and we put this tree in right here, see how that looks further back than this tree does? This is, let's see, let's call this tree Ellie. Oh yeah, and Jules, because it looks like there's two of them in there. Now, I told you if we don't like our sun, this is a time that we can put another tree in here. So let's put a Caleb back here. He's good and tall. There we go. Now these are evergreens, but they will have highlights on them. I may do some plein air later on. Maybe next Saturday I'll do a plein air painting. And you'll see how this dried and made the trip. We are going to be on the road for a little while. And we will be actually practicing safe. With this virus out here, we'll be sure that we have our gloves on and our mask, and unless we're out in the wide open when nobody's around. So, wow. Now, I want this landscape to come this way. See, it's leaving a little bit of that place that I can put some water in here. I don't know if you can see it that good, but it does. Put some little bushes right in here. And now, this is actually working really well. So now let's see, who can we put over here? Let's put Taylor right here. We might better make Caleb a little taller. He's looking not as tall all of a sudden. So. There we go. Now we're going to put Julie right here. So she's about right there, and we're going to, there we go. That's a good Julie. Now we're going to start with this landscape right in here. Now let's put Bill right over here. All right. Now, look at this. This is a different tree. I'm going to put two trees together so we have Bill and Charlotte here. Oh yeah, that's looking good. See how that worked? Did you see how I touched and I pushed it up? And when I did, I got a different looking tree than I did over here. Whatever you do with your brush gives a whole different technique to your trees or your flowers, whatever landscaping or whatever you're painting. It's all in the way you handle your brush. If you touch and push up, it gives it a broader, like it expands the tree. If you just tap, it's going to give you just a little area. I'm gonna make this tree to show you just a little larger. Who was this, Will? There we go. Now look at that tree. Now, when we put the highlight in there, you'll be like, oh my goodness, look at the difference, right? Thank you all for tuning in. I see that y'all are leaving me notes. That's absolutely wonderful. I appreciate that. Now, I have to, since I don't have but one of these brushes, I do have to rinse this one out somewhat. So, and with the heavy colors that we made in this, it stains the brush. That's okay, you know? And I don't care if you're using light colors, whatever it is, you will get a stain in your brush. It always tends to be kind of green. I don't care what you do, it's going to have a green stain on your brushes. Let me show you these. These are what I use for oil. And look at that fan. I don't know if you can see the green color on it, but it is. All right, so now let's work on this. Put this right here so I know where it is, I guess, huh? So, and I need to clean this one out. There we go. Okay, so now, let's work on this waterfall. So to start off with, I'm going to take a really small brush because we've got a small area right there. I'm even using a, see how that has a slant to it? I'm using that. But you know what, I don't like the way the end of it feels. Okay, so let's use this flat brush right here. I know everybody that's knowing me says, I can't believe you're going to use that diagonal brush there. But I was going to try it. Okay, so now I am mixing Prussian blue and titanium white together. I'm making sure that it's in the brush good. So what I am doing is just pushing in like this so that I don't have any what I call glunks in it. Now I am using Prussian blue, but I'm using cerulean blue. So that is going to tone down the Prussian blue. And cerulean blue is a really pretty water. See, maybe you can see it better there. There we go. All right, so now, and I always prop my arm when I'm going to do tedious work. So right in here is where that water is coming through. And I'm just barely touching it right there because I don't want to get this green in my brush. Oh yeah, I don't know if you can see this because it's really small work. I just can't believe it. It's really working well. Now, we will come back in here, maybe tap a little bit of that base color. You need 3 values, and you don't want any sharp edges when you're doing landscaping. So when we come back in here, let me get some more of this color in my brush. We will tap a little so that that tree limb is laying over the edge of the water. And so right along here, we want to give it a waterfall. So first, before we do the waterfall, I'm going to take a small palette knife like this. I'm going to cut across the water. I have some here that, and see, can you see that tiny row of paint that's on that? Let's see if I put it against this. Okay, right there. All right, so what we're doing is making the water look like it's flowing. And remember, water only flows level. Water does not pull up over a rock unless you've got a major current pushing it. So we're going to come in and we're just barely touching here and there to get that water. Just look at that. So easy, huh? My mother's from Louisiana and she'd say, oh, but no, yeah. That was her favorite expression. Depending on the tone she used, it was good or it was bad. Sometimes she left the yeah off and that meant it was really bad. Okay, so what I've done is pulled a little of this paint off there so it's not as bright. Yeah, because we want it to be kind of subtle coming down there. Alright, so now we want to make a waterfall. So I am going to take, what can I use for that waterfall? I need a, okay, this brush is kind of in bad shape and I think it'll do very well. This is one of those cheap brushes. Can you see how bad it is? Okay, it's got some wild hairs on it. Alright, so I am putting white paint in it, titanium white. Okay, so now, let's see how it works. Alright, so we're going to pretend that there's a rock here and that the water is coming and all of a sudden it's making a flow through here. So, to make a waterfall. So here we go, it's here. Look at that. Wasn't that easy? Now watch. Okay, look at that. Let's put another one right there. We're going to put one right there. I keep thinking I'm going to pick up some paint, another color, but it's not there. Look at that. Now, I'm going to put a little more paint in this brush, and I'm going to bring this side back some more. Look at that. And you know, when water is hitting against the rocks and things, it makes a splash. So, now, so we're giving it a little bit of a waterfall back here and a little bit here. Maybe back here even. Look at that. That is so much detail. That is, I hope you're enjoying this. Now we have to, let's put a little bit of a splash in front of this, because you know, if you've seen waterfalls, and which I'm sure you have, that there's always, the water is always splashing up right where it lands. There we go. And there we gave it some splash. Now, look at that, how splashing up the edge. Now let's have the water coming out some. So what we're going to do is brush it in right here. See? I'm going to put a little color in that so you can see it better. So I'm going to put some of that Syrian. There you go. It is cerulean blue. There we go. Now these are, the paints that I'm using today are tube paints. And I have Acadian, Academia Acrylics, I have Basics, I have Master Touch, you name it. These are all less expensive acrylics, and they work really well. So, I'm going to put, where this is going to flow out from there, I'm going to put a little more blue in that fall. Yeah, there we go. Now see how we're doing this water coming out like this? Now we will go back and it'll get more narrow in places. There we go, look at that. Now see how I put that white in there to give it more of a flow? Cerulean blue. You should hear me with the other ones, or maybe you have. Okay, so now let's put another waterfall in here. I'm going to wipe this brush a little bit to get some of that blue out of it. And as always, I tell you, use old t-shirts, towels. This is those microfiber, and they have 2 or 3 of them for $1 in places. So, and you can wash them. Now, if you use oils in that, be careful. You will need to do another wash cycle after you wash them, because that paint thinner and the oils will, the smell will get in your clothes. Not necessarily the paint, but the smell will get in your clothes. So, and it's just because I'm sensitive to smells. So if you, but if it's in acrylics, usually it doesn't do it. But do not use, I'm trying to get some paint here. Do not use fabric softener. if you're going to use it to clean your brushes. Okay. See how I'm scrubbing in some white just to give it some highlights. You always want 3 values. You want a dark, medium, and light. Or if your darkest color is this blue, which is probably a medium color, then you want medium, light, and lighter, if that makes sense, okay? But you want the 3 values. Okay, so now let's take this and we're going to start doing some landscaping. I want to highlight this in the background first. So we're going to take that same brush that we had. I'm putting these brushes in water and try to clean them a little, because you do not want your brushes to stay in the water, which they're having to do that today. That's not a good idea. So, but they won't be in there hopefully over an hour. Anyway, and when you get one dirty, you just pick up another. Wipe this brush out and go into your, let's go into some yellow ochre, because yellow ochre is the duller of the 3 yellows I have here. Now on my palette, let me go over it right quick with you. I have titanium white, phthalo blue, cerulean blue, Prussian blue, midnight black, dark, well, it's kind of a burnt sienna and burnt umber, alizarin crimson, sap green, cadmium yellow, yellow ochre, Indian yellow, and an orange color, so that you have an idea about what I am painting with. Okay, so now look, this is our farthest tree back, right back here. So what we're going to do is just tap it in here. Just put a little highlight on it here and there. Now look at that. And now in the bushes a little. Okay. Now there's one back behind it, just a little. And now let's add a little bit of this cadmium yellow to that, to this color. We probably need some orange for it to look like this sun. Yes, there we go. Make sure you work that color in your brush. You don't want it to be too bright. But we are just tapping in. Oh, look at that. See how that gave it some light? I know it's difficult for you to see it there. Hopefully that, you'll be able to see it better. Okay, so now we're just tapping this in here and there. We don't want to overdo it. And now you can still see this sun behind it just a little there. And that's all we need to see it actually. Now let's put a little orange in here. Actually, this is Indian yellow. Okay, and we're going to put, just to change it up a little. Oh, look at those highlights. Now this brush is separating on me, and it is really giving me, there, you can see it good there. It's really giving me some fantastic looks in these trees, highlighting them. And it's holding that color so well. Okay, so when you have a brush that works good for you, man, that is fantastic. Now remember, when you are painting one tree in front of the other, you need to leave some dark from the other tree. So I am trying to just leave a little dark in between them. And which I didn't right in here. So what I'm going to do is wipe this brush. I'm going to go back and put some of that mixture that I had that I was doing these trees with. And I'm going to tap it back in. There we go. So that you are sure that one tree stands out more than the other tree. And you have to have dark in order for you to have light. And I don't, even if you're or watercolor, you still have to have that dark color. Now, see how when I put that dark in there, it made that tree stand forward. So that's a good thing. Now I feel like I need a little more of the highlight on it, so I'm gonna go back into this Indian yellow, and I am just barely touching it right here. My nose is itching. Don't they say when your nose is itching, somebody's coming to see you with a hole in britches? Maybe you've never heard that. All right, now see, that looks like two different trees right there. And that's exactly what we wanted it to look like. Okay, so now, you know, sometimes it says how long I've been on, and sometimes not, and this is one of those not times. So let's go over here and put some of this cadmium yellow, because these trees are closer than those, so we want to put in a lighter color. So let's do that. All right, so now we're going to touch with the side right here. I think this is Caleb. Oh yeah. See, we're making the branches irregular. Oops. Well, you know, that was not an intention. That's one of those happy little accidents, right? And this is not Bob Ross now, because his is always on. So, now look, I hope you can see that tree, because that really has a nice effect on it. So now, I'm going to put some more of this Indian yellow in this room. I'm going to, I believe this was Danielle. I'm going to put a little highlight right across this. Oh yeah, now see how I'm leaving the dark between him and Danielle? Because you need that shadow. There we go. Now here it looks dark. I hope it's showing up there. Okay, now I think this was Jules. We had Ellie over here. So let's put a little, this was Adeline, I think it was. Yeah, it was. Okay, and now, wow, I really like this brush. This is actually the first time I've ever used it. But see how good these highlights are going on? One thing good is this acrylic paint dries, and so when you start putting on the highlight, you're not picking up as much. So that, because when you do oils, you have to watch out for what you're really picking up. Because when you actually, your paint is still wet, so you have to make sure that your paint is thinner than what you're putting it on, so that it doesn't pull up your paint. Okay, so here we go. I would like to paint y'all a swamp scene soon, but I also want to paint y'all some plein air, and we're about to be on the road, so hopefully I'll be able to stop occasionally and do a plein air. So I usually teach on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. I know I will be teaching Tuesday. Now we'll have to see about the rest of it. But see how this allows this to flow? Look over here. I mean, that's just fantastic. Okay, so now we're going to put in some more of the water. Well, I think I need to put in some of the landscaping here. So I'm, sorry. I see my friend Dolores on here. I just happened to look up and see her name. Thank you for watching. And I'm sure Rosalind is on here too. Okay, so now I have picked up some more of the dark color. I hope Kenzie is at Dolores is today watching with her. Has been in my class. Excellent painter. Now see, because I had that yellow in there, it is making a lighter color green, and that's okay because it's coming towards us. So let's put some of this color over here. Now when you do a waterfall, you have to encase the waterfall in, the water in, so that it makes that fall. If not, it just runs out forever. So, like it does this time of year along the Mississippi, it just kind of floods if it's not on the levee side. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Put a rock there. Alright, here we go. Now when we come back, we'll do layers of grass. We'll put some more bushes in here. Alright, so now we are going to take a palette knife, a small palette knife, okay? So see the palette knife, this just called a small palette knife. Very clever, right? So we're going to take the Van Dyke brown and we're going to cut across it. So I'm going to wipe this off because I have it on my palette knife. So see the cut across the paint that I have on here? So what we're going to do is right from here, I'm going to start on this side. From here down, we're doing a rock. So I need it closer to it, so I'm going to cut across. Now see, I used the other end of this palette knife and see it on there? Alright, so now we're taking right here and we're pulling it down. Need some more. There we go. And this is that, I think this is actually burnt umber instead of Van Dyke brown. See how I pulled that in? Wow, look at that. Now we're going to take this, and on this side, we're going to do the same thing. Yeah. Now, let's cut across this white. And now we're going to okay, so I was gone for a moment. Thank y'all for hanging in there. Now we're just softly pulling across the rocks. So this looks like it is encased with rocks. Now we're going to put a land mass right along here because we want to hold in the water. So see how I put that burnt umber on here? And now look at that. There's some more. And we're going to put a little more right in here. There we go. Now on the land mass, we're actually going to add some little rocks in it. So we're cutting across this white, titanium white, and now we're just kind of hitting and missing with it. Hopefully we're missing, yeah, there we go. Now there. I think I've said this before, I don't know if y'all remember it or not, but I teach a lot of classes, and people who use my brushes and do not take as good cheap by any means, especially when you have to replace them time and time again. But sometimes they will use the palette knife. I'll see them just over there playing with it. I'm like, no, 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 you'll bend it. And that's what's happened to this one. Now see how I put a few little rocks in this here and there? And it makes it look like the land is going down. I mean, the water is going down, and so is the land. See, it's having a drop in it. So, we will put some bushes over this side so we don't need as much on this side. I'm going to put a tiny bit right up here. Yeah, there we go. Just darkening it right there just really gives it that, you know. Okay, so now we need to hurry here. If I run out, then what I will do is start again. later on today and finish it. But hopefully we'll get it finished here. So now I'm wiping this, drying this brush out. I'm gonna put some, using my palette knife, I'm actually going to put some of the alizarin crimson in with a little of this orange. How about the Indian yellow instead of orange? Mix those two together, and I'm gonna highlight some of these bushes or flower, like they have flowers on them. Add a little titanium white to it. Excuse me. I cannot thank y'all enough for viewing my videos. One of them I had 743, I think it was, videos. And thank y'all so much. That was just unbelievable to me. I was so excited. I was watching it constantly. I was, like when it passed 200, I was overwhelmed. When it passed 300, and it just kept going. So thank y'all very much. I appreciate y'all sharing my videos and liking them. Thank you. Okay, so now I have this mixture, and this is going to be for my bushes here. So right in this area, I'm going to start making some little bushes. Now these are further back, so they're not going to be as noticeable, but they're there. So see how I left a little dark area right there? Now that is what makes them pop. Look at that. But if they don't have that dark area between them, then you just don't see it. If that makes sense. Okay, so now I'm going to put a little bit of orange to highlight some of these. We don't want them all to look just alike. So here we go with some orange in there. And maybe a little orange right there to separate that. We don't want, you don't want them every other one. You just want to pick out a few. Now, I'm going to put this bush right in here. And it's getting closer, so it's going to be larger, right? Okay, so let's put one. This is right in that rock area, so we're going to put one coming down here. There we go. And look how this extends over into the water. Isn't that neat? It's just amazing the little touches that you can do to make your painting change. Okay, now this is yellow, so we're coming back with it. Now we want this to be right on this land mass here. And we're going to bring some of that color out into the edge. See? Look at that. And see, this actually makes them stand out from each other. I hope you can see this. Now this one we're going to put out onto here. Now, do you see where I changed my mind on what I was doing? So now I have to go back and put some dark in here because that one ended up back here, see? I need a little more dark than that, I'm guessing, huh? Alright, so you want to stand back and look and just see where you're putting the darkness in these trees or bushes, as the case may be. But see how that made that stand out? I'm going to put a little more in to make that show. So here we go. That brings that one out here. It leaves this one here. Some more color on this. How about a little yellow ochre to bring this out right here a little. And just see how that's making those stand out from each other. I really hope you can see this. Now this one goes back behind that one. It's a different shaped bush, but that's okay. So now, I think we're going to stop for a while. Let me put you another waterfall right here and then we'll stop. And if you want to watch for the finish of it, we will finish about 2 o'clock. So, and that's Central Time. So I'm going to add some of this on here. Bad thing about working with acrylics is they will be dry by the end. That's all right, we can deal with it. So, a little white in there. Now let's do this waterfall, so if you didn't see the first one, you'll see this. Okay, and so what we're doing is touching, pressing, and swoop. Look at that. Touch, press, and swoop. I think I need a larger brush, so I'm going to get one. And I'm going to put some white in here. There we go. And now, we're going to put a little over here. We're touching and we're, look at that. Here we go. Very, just so easy. Now we're going to put some of this over here. Okay, so. Now, if you want to look like your waterfall is coming down over some different little falls down here, all you have to do is just here and there. See how I did that? Now, if you'll watch, this will go over the top of that, and it'll give it a different interest. Okay, well, that was too heavy. Get some of this paint out. Yeah, see how when it's light, it comes down? And now, right in here. I had a friend put on Facebook this morning that he had done his left and his right. Actually, it's a cousin of mine. His left and right brain. And I was like, I don't have to do the test. I know where my brain lies. The only thing is that I'm good on some on both of them. So there you go. All right, so see how I put that in? Now I want to scrub it in. So there. See how that's just making little ripples up through there? We're scrubbing this in, then I'll come back and put a much brighter highlight of a white on it. Okay, so now, let me get my palette knife. I'm using the small palette knife. I'm pulling out some of this titanium white, okay? And now, I'm going to just put some lines in it here and there. Yeah, there. And see, it's just making the water flow down through here. Now see, this one's just a little too heavy. That's not what I wanted. So I am picking this up. And when it doesn't pick up, you just go back and get some of that blue color. Because this is acrylics and it doesn't always work the way you want it to. Alright. Now I want to put some more of this blue color in a little heavier here and there. So that's what I'm doing across here. There. Now I'm going to take this fan brush and I'm going to mix some of the blue and white together, some of the cerulean blue and the titanium white, and hope I didn't pick up anything else. And right down here, there we go, look at that. That's the effect that I wanted. That is it. I put some blue right in that water and it really softened it. Okay, so now I will come back about 2 o'clock. I know y'all are probably tired, so I will finish then. So please stay with me, come back to see me at 2, and I will certainly look forward to seeing y'all. Have a great day during this time, and I wish you lots of love and laughter until I see you again. Bye.